The wind howled across the open prairie, sharp with the smell of pine and distant rain. In the center of a small frontier town, a young woman dangled from a rough-hewn wooden frame, her wrists bound above her head, her toes barely scraping the dusty ground. A crude plank was tied to her chest, its words painted in dripping black letters, "Indian Lover." The sign swung with each gust, the rope above her creaking like the gallows. Her dress was torn, dirt streaked her face, and a dark bruise shadowed her cheek. Around her, a half-circle of townsfolk stood silent, their eyes a mixture of cold judgment and uneasy curiosity. Some looked away, others stared with quiet satisfaction. The sheriff leaned on a post, chewing a piece of grass, pretending not to notice the tremor in the woman's legs. No one spoke, no one moved. Her name was Claire Morrison. The charge against her was not written in any law, yet it carried a punishment crueler than prison. She had been accused of showing kindness, of helping a wounded Lakota man just days before. She had pulled him from a shallow creek where his blood had spread like smoke in the water, his side pierced by a bullet. She had sewn him up in her small cabin, fed him bread and broth, and kept him hidden until he could walk again. But in this town, helping an enemy was treason of the heart. And for that, they decided to shame her. Hours passed. The sun dipped lower, burning orange over the distant hills. The shadows of the watching crowd grew long, stretching toward her like grasping hands. Claire's wrists throbbed. Her throat was parched. She tried not to meet their eyes. She tried to keep breathing slow. A child's voice broke the silence, a small, high laugh from beyond the edge of the crowd. Heads turned. From the shadow of the pines, a small figure waddled forward. At first, Claire thought her mind was playing tricks. Then she saw it, a bear cub, no taller than her waist, its fur a mix of deep brown and sunlit gold. It blinked at the scene, tilting its head like it was trying to understand. The crowd froze. No one dared move. The cub padded forward, sniffing the dirt, its tiny claws making soft scrapes in the dust. It stopped a few feet from Claire and looked up at her, nose twitching. Then, with a curious little huff, it stepped closer. Its small paw batted at the hem of her torn dress. A gentle tug, then another. Claire's heart pounded. Her lips parted, but no words came out. The cub tugged again, harder this time, and the fabric gave a soft rip. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Somewhere in the pines, a deep, rolling growl answered the cub's playful noise. Heads whipped toward the sound. The air grew heavy. The sheriff's hand went to the butt of his revolver. From the trees emerged a shadow so large it seemed to bend the fading light. A massive grizzly, scarred and thick-shouldered, stepped into view. Its dark eyes locked on the cub, then on the woman hanging there. Its nostrils flared. The cub chirped and pulled again at Claire's dress, as if trying to free her from her bonds. The grizzly huffed, the sound like distant thunder, and took a step forward. The crowd scattered, boots pounding the dirt, skirts flaring as people fled for doorways. The sheriff backed away, his revolver trembling in his grip. Claire stood frozen. The cub's claws caught the rope binding her ankles and scratched at it with stubborn persistence. The mother bear came closer, towering over both of them now, her breath warm and musky in the cooling air. For a moment, it felt like the world was holding its breath. Then, with one swift motion, the cub managed to fray the rope enough for Claire to stumble forward. The force of it knocked the sign from her chest, the wooden plank clattering to the dirt. She landed hard on her knees. The mother bear sniffed at her, eyes calm but unblinking, then nudged the cub toward the trees. Slowly, the little one obeyed, glancing back at Claire one last time before disappearing into the shadows. The big grizzly lingered for a moment longer, watching her, then turned and melted into the forest without a sound. When Claire finally looked around, the street was nearly empty. The few who remained stood far back, whispering to each other. No one came forward, no one offered a hand. She rose unsteadily, rubbing her wrists, and began to walk toward the edge of town. With each step, the whispering faded behind her. She didn't look back. The sky was deepening into purple, and the wind carried the sharp scent of pine and rain once more. Somewhere in the distance, a cub squeaked, and a deep, low rumble answered. That night, as the town spoke in hushed tones about what had happened, some swore the bears had come for the woman. Others swore they had come for vengeance. But Claire Morrison knew the truth, they had come for kindness. And in a place where cruelty was the law, kindness was the greatest rebellion of all.